Hi all, Cynthia here, back with a layout in my traveller's notebook. I'm working with these 4 photos here. They are 3 in the horizontal and 1 in the vertical format. So we went for a little walk one day, or a reasonably big walk, or we went on an outing, I should say, and I'm just documenting the outing. So the idea behind the walk was that I know this beach that we walked into, or rocky little cove that we walked into, has lots of fossils in all the rocks, and lots of little rocks, and they all have little fossils. And we're about to do our cub planning for the day. So I'm a cub's leader, and we're about to do our planning for the beginning of the year. And I want to check to see how long it was going to take us to walk into this little cove. I've only ever come to it via boat before. So we went on a scout's mission, I guess you would call, looking to see. The day was a really, really smoky day. We've been battling wildfires down here in Tasmania for about, I would say, 4 weeks, and we just lived in thick smoke because they weren't too far from where I live. But thankfully they are somewhat more under control now, and the smoke has disappeared. But on this particular day, the smoke was really thick, which was interesting because when I was taking the photos come out with nearly a sepia tone to them. Particularly you can see with that top one there of the 2 boys and the dog, and then the one on the track, it's got this, so that's not filters, that's just the way they come out, which was quite interesting. So I've gone through the papers here. All the products that I'm using are from my February kit from the Wild Hare Kits, and I've grabbed out the 6x8 paper here, and I've laid that down, and I'm going to use that on the right hand page. And then I've cut out those 2 journaling tags, cut apart pieces of paper, tags, whatever you'd like to call them, and I'm going to lay those on the left hand there. I just really like the colours. I think the yellowy sort of plays in well with the sepia tone of some of these pictures, and then the coral colour goes well with what's happening in this photo here that I just backed. So in that photo is a picture of my son, and I found a big seahorse, a dead seahorse, on the beach as I was walking along, and as you can see, it's quite a big one there. So I was just taking a photo of that. I really fiddled around for a long time deciding on how I want to back these photos. We saw when I cut them apart, initially they didn't have a white border on them once I finished cutting them apart, and I do like my photos to have a white border on them, so I end up going back in and putting a white border on all of them. Slowly but surely I do that. And I quite like the way this black is working out behind the photo, but I just try to figure out how I'm going to get that to work. I'm determined that I'm going to use that heart frame, and it does not get used on this page. And I went to use it on another page, and it doesn't get used on that page either. So as yet, I have not used it. Here we go. I think this is the last one, or have I still got that vertical one to back as well? I can't quite remember. I really like the way the stars there on this one, this little cut apart here, sort of frame, the picture fits perfectly in between it. So I'm going to sit that one in there. I will trim down that bottom piece with the triangles. I'll trim that down to be a little bit narrower than what it is currently after I fiddle around for a while. I realise that now we're starting to get a bit of a black pop happening behind some of these photos, so I do want to bring some black across to the left-hand page, and I go backwards and forwards for a while figuring out how I'm going to make that work. I'll try all the different papers in the collection here, or the kit, but I end up coming up with something else a little bit down the track. There we go, finally sticking that one down, and I'm going to put that one down here. figuring out how I can get some black across to this side of the page. And I mounted this one on this. I think I end up pulling that up in a moment if I remember correctly. We'll wait and see. I feel like I do. Don't really know why I decided to put the tape on the page first and not on the paper. Not sure. Whether I just decided I want to cut it down, I don't know. It's very unusual for me, but thankfully it worked out in the end. They didn't have tape showing out the edge of the paper. So just trimming this paper down here to fit, like that, and I'm going to start sticking some of these down. With the middle photo here of myself and Edward, our son, I decided to pop that up on some foam or leftover chipboard is what I actually use. So with the chipboard elements, once I finished with the sheet, I generally I have been of late anyway using that to mount the photos on. I think it works really well. And get to use up all those little bits and pieces and save wasting them or throwing them out. There we go, I've got that up. And maybe going to start on the other page now. Nope, I'm going to fussy cut out some of these leaves here and going to layer them behind the back of the page. I love little leaves and tucky bits like this that you can tuck in behind the photos. Except I stuck that chipboard piece one down that well that it was not going to come back up. So I had to cut them down a little bit to make them work. But they tuck in there nicely. What have I gone to do now? Off to the side doing something, who knows what. Going to work on this photo now. This is the one I initially backed on this paper here, but as I go down the path a little bit, I do pull that up. I want to bring some black across to that page. I'm feeling like just a little bit of black that's in that backing paper is not quite enough. You saw me try to bring in the triangle piece. I think I might try to bring that in again. It doesn't make it. So what I end up doing is going into my stash and I find a little bit of black cardstock and I use that to mount it on. That's after I mount it on white. There we go. There's that little bit of black scrap paper there. So I'll mount it on that. And that's just that little bit of black onto this page, which ties it into the right-hand page. Got the stapler. I really wanted to write on the numbers. So I did think about swapping these two cards around, so having the yellow card on top and that corally coloured card underneath. But I knew I wanted to write down on those lines, and if I did it the other way, I would cover up the numbers. Not that I'm writing a list or anything. I do just write the fact that we went for a bit of a walk on a scout's mission. And that it was very smoky, so pretty much just what I spoke about already. And then I stick that down. And then I start to go through my embellishments to see what else I can use. I don't think I use any of the chipboards. I do use some of the enamel dots and stars here. I come back a bit later on and add some more of those on. I go back in and cut some more of these leaves out and I put them on the left-hand page as well. Scatter them around in a couple of different spots. Trying to bring the colours across, and once again the bit of cohesion across the two pages, repeating the elements. And I come in with one more cluster of leaves. I do that on the bottom left-hand page and tuck it in under the photos there. It kind of creates that third cluster, which it wasn't something as I say before, I don't deliberately think of doing it as in groups of three or clusters of three or creating triangles. But I do realise that particularly once I'm watching back, I see that I have automatically created that without sort of even realising what I've done. There we go, and I'll put that one in there, and I think that just completes that. And I happen to have this little poochie here that was in the ephemera pack, so I'm going to put him down, as we did take our dog with us on this walk, so I thought it worked quite well. And I wanted to use that love element. It's blue. It's a little bit darker blue than what this dog is. I thought that might work initially, but I see that I do go back through a couple of times looking for something that has that blue tone that I can bring across to the left-hand page, but I didn't find anything, so I just was happy to leave it as it was. Going to pop the puppy dog up on some of the foam here, or chipboard I should say. Battle with the double-sided tape. Sometimes it comes off easy and sometimes I can't get it off for the life of me. And I think he sits in there just nice, fills up that little bit of gap that I had down the bottom of that card. Realising that I have the dog popped up and the photo, and they both close at the book at the same time, so it's adding a fair bit of bulk just there, but I don't mind that. What else are we doing? This is where I'm going through to see whether there's anything that's that darker blue that I could bring in. I had a look a couple of times. Don't think I do. But while I was going through looking for some blue, I found some of these gorgeous acrylic hearts. I had lots and lots and lots of them coming in my kit, so I decided I'll put the 3 just there. I don't repeat the element anywhere else, but I found that with the 2 clusters of black enamel dots and stars, and then the cluster of these, once again, it sort of created that rule of thirds and the triangle. Once again, didn't particularly realise that's what I was creating as I was putting it down. And it wasn't really until I'm watching it now that it's dawned on me that's what I have done. But I knew at the time that it seemed to work. So with these enamel shapes, they are from the Bramble Fox, and both of them have a cover on both sides. So you just need to peel the plastic off both sides, and it looks like I'm all done. So thank you very much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Leave me a comment. Love reading your comment. And until next time, everyone have a lovely day, a lovely week, and a lovely month. And check out the link below for the Wild Hare Kits. Catch you on the next one. Bye.